SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management, and it's a type of security solution that can aggregate and analyze activity from different parts of your IT environment. So a SIEM system can pull in data from everything you give it access to. So as you can see in the image, your servers, your laptops, your firewalls, your routers, virtual machines, applications, pretty much all modern technology it can analyze in real time. And it does this by pulling all the interesting logs, either through a sensor in your environment or through APIs. Because SIEM systems correlate events from so many areas, you really get a full picture of your entire environment, what's happening across your entire environment without needing to jump into different systems or different dashboards. So if you have an incident, you need to go to your email security product and then your firewall dashboard and then export the logs of both of these systems and then look through it. The SIEM does this for you. So a SIEM is great with what we call ATPs, or advanced persistent threats. ATPs are a type of attack where someone gains access to your network and then remains undetected. And their goal is to establish a foothold in your environment, and not just to exploit something right away, but to kind of spread around and wait until it can exploit something bigger. So a SIEM is particularly good with helping with those types of advanced threats because it looks for unusual patterns over a long period of time. And it does this because it can store your logs, usually for at least 3 months. So it's more likely to identify something weird going on in your environment, in your organization. A real life example of this could be a user connects to an external IP, and then the same user a week later logs in from an unusual location. And then a month later, the same user might try to connect to an HR server. But none of these things on their own indicate something's wrong. But a SIEM can see all of this and potentially tell you if there's a threat there. So essentially, you're going to be spotting more risks than if you were only looking at individual systems. Another reason you might be interested in a SIEM tool is if you need to meet specific regulatory requirements. It depends on the exact framework or regulation, but a SIEM could help you quickly detect a breach, which would help you comply with something like GDPR because there's a requirement for timely breach reporting. If you're in the market for a SIEM platform, the main thing you want to make sure of is your tool can integrate with your existing IT infrastructure fully. But you should be more careful when it comes to legacy systems or highly customizable apps, as the logs from these systems might not be compatible with the SIEM tool. All SIEMs are bound to have an element of AI, so kind of machine learning and behavior analytics, and they'll use that to help with correlating events to see kind of the baseline of users, and if they act differently, then it might trigger an alert. If you're using the tool yourself, you might want to consider the level of support offered by the vendor, because your business will probably need training, they'll need help with the implementation of the tool, and they'll also need help with tuning. The tuning of alerts is a really important part because you don't want to be swamped by too many alerts right away, and you also don't want to miss anything, obviously. But you can ask for assistance again with this from either the vendor or even a third party. And this point takes me on to the final part of the video. So a SOC is a dedicated facility where a team of cybersecurity professionals will monitor, detect and respond to threats. And they will generally use a SIEM platform like the ones we've talked about. If you're looking to pay for a SOC, you should find one that's 24/7, and you'll also need to understand what the capability is. Do they do advanced things like proactive threat hunting, or do they just alert you? Do they actually fix things in your environment? Are they 24/7? Do they charge you extra log storage? Are they based wherever your business is based? If you're a small to medium-sized business or above and you lack the resources to set up and manage your own SIEM system, a SOC could give you access to a SIEM tool and experienced professionals to use that tool without having to go through all the hassle yourself. On the other hand, if your business is small and has simple IT infrastructure, maybe you don't handle any sensitive data or you don't provide any services that you run yourself, the need for a SOC might be less critical. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any more questions or queries, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Thanks.